Dude.
Welcome to Streaming with Two Dudes, a podcast about all things streaming. Each episode, we break down some of the best series, songs, movies, and shows. I'm one dude, Parker.
I'm one guest dude, Steen.
And this month, our theme is natural disasters. And this episode, we are talking about Contagion. But first, Steen, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm not a dude. Sorry, guys. I identify honestly as a bro, but it's fine. So
we say dudes are here. We're all dudes are here. Like
yeah,
it's gonna be dudes.
Dude, babe, bro. Like it's all the same.
It's all the same.
So I'm one of two hosts on a different podcast. So that's fun. We actually discovered each other, I think, on TikTok.
Yeah.
Promoting our pods, and we were like, wait, you have a pod? And we were like, wait, you have a pod? And then it's been ever since. But
that's actually how Jeff and I met too, is TikTok.
Really? That's so funny. So do you guys I'm learning, do you guys live near each other?
No, he actually lives in South Carolina.
So where do you live?
I live in Buffalo, New York, but I'm originally from Tennessee. So
okay, so I live in Virginia, and Araya, my co-host, if you're listening, listeners, she lives in Colorado.
Yeah.
It's
cool.
So weird. Yeah, we met, actually, her and I met on Call of Duty.
Okay. Okay.
However, we have a lot of mutual friends, so we were introduced that way. We're like, hey, join our clan, and she was already ripping it up in there.
Yeah.
She's so good. And then we were super similar, and we were like, wait, you're also a dude, bro. And we were like, this is so weird. And then we would talk about the same shit, and we were like, we should do a podcast like every other white girl ever says.
I mean, right? Same boat. We're in the same boat. Yeah.
And then we did it. So if you're interested, our podcast is it's about anything, creepy, paranormal, true crime, cryptid, all those things. And it's just it's called Immediately No.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I love it. I love it. I'm a big fan, honestly, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to invite y'all on the podcast, because I love y'all's vibe. Super funny.
Yeah, we try to lighten it up. It can be pretty intense on there, but we're two clowns, man. We're two clowns on there. When we just talk about things, basically we were just it's things we were just absolutely not, immediately no. And that's just where it came from. Obviously, the sound from TikTok, it was just immediately no. And so we have fun. So if you guys check it out, that's cool. If not, that's totally cool.
Yeah. And obviously the links down to that will be down in the show notes as well. But yeah, awesome. So besides Contagion, is there anything else you've been watching lately? Anything else you super into? So
I'll say I will chime in. Araya was supposed to be on here with us. She had some family stuff, but I know she probably has some funny shit that she's reading. She reads so much. We will do some intense research for our episodes, and this bitch will buy books and read them and I'm like, bro, I'm not buying books, but so she probably has a lot. However, I've been getting into a show that's considered old now. Because I feel like I've just watched everything, but it's called The Sinner.
Oh,
it's on Netflix.
Never heard of it.
So Jessica Biel is the main actress.
Okay.
It's a thriller, almost psychological. It's pretty intense so far. I think I'm on season 2.
Yeah.
I have no idea where it's going. I don't know.
Yeah.
She's got it's just about some crazy shit. She ends up doing something, but then you realize there's an entire backstory of how she got there that just more unravels, and you're like, what is this show about?
Mm-hmm.
So The Sinner on Netflix.
Cool. Yeah. I've actually, I don't know if you are into honestly, this is something that I've just found out about myself recently in the past couple of months, that I'm obviously into those sloppy like romantic
Oh.
romance based like reality shows, and
Oh, okay.
Love is
Yeah.
Blind just started a new season on Netflix, and they
Okay.
released like the first half of it, and like listeners, as you're listening to this, it'll already have been released, but
I'm just kidding.
but right now, it's the day before, so tomorrow, as we're recording this, they will, I think, release the rest of the episodes, or at least like the next
Okay.
episode. So
Okay.
I'm super stoked on that. But yeah, dude, like I don't know if you ever heard of Love Is Blind or watched
I
any
was
of
gonna
it?
say, honestly, dude, I watched last season. I did.
Yeah.
I don't know how many seasons there's been, but I did watch the last one. Okay, did you watch last season?
Yes, I did. I did watch it last
What are
season.
your thoughts?
That was the one that got me hooked. Like that was like I watched that season
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, so apparently I'm a sloppy bitch. Like
dude, like, I feel like everyone has these strong opinions that I'm, like, not vibing with on, like,
yeah.
I feel like I pick up on people pretty well, and like, everyone has these really strong opinions about everyone, and I find myself, like, not agreeing with
Yeah.
everyone's opinions.
Yeah.
Um, like, what was, is it Cole? No.
I I can't remember. I'm honestly horrible with
The one
names.
that was oh god, I know, we suck.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
You know how he was flirting with the ballet dancer, but
yeah,
it
yeah,
wasn't his
yeah.
girl? That
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
His girl was gorgeous,
Right.
I feel like, and,
Yeah.
like, people were like, "Ew, like, I didn't even like her, like, she's crazy." I'm like, "Bro, she's not crazy, y'all are
No.
the problem."
No, yeah,
And then
exactly. Okay. Alright, we're on the same page.
oh, wait, I do have to talk some shit real quick. I can't stand what's his name? Barnett?
Oh,
Bartise.
Bartiste.
Bartise!
Yeah, Bartiste. Yeah.
Yeah, I could not stand him, and now he's on, like, another love reality show on Netflix.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I don't like his attitude either. He's got
Fake.
that.
Yeah, he's fake.
Yeah.
No. So, I feel okay, so I see. I didn't peg you as a Love Is Blind kinda guy. This is
I
great.
I mean, honestly, I didn't either, but apparently, like, yeah, apparently it's my jam. I was totally into last season. I haven't actually gone back and watched the other ones, but when I saw the new season, yeah, I've already watched the first like 5 episodes because that's what
Let
they
me ask
have
you this,
released.
would you ever go on that show?
No, absolutely not. I don't think
You wouldn't try
no.
it?
No, 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 no.
'Cause, like,
That's
you don't
absolutely
have to get
insane.
married,
I know
right?
you don't
Like
have to, but like, okay, so like I would be the kind of person, like, honestly, like I'm almost too nice, like, to where I'd be like, I don't wanna embarrass this person on, like, a national show if they're in love with me, but I don't wanna marry them, you know what I mean? Like, I would be like, I think so. I think I'm gonna marry you," and then just, like, get it annulled or something because, like, I couldn't do that. Like, that's the thing is, like, I couldn't be in that position.
you
I
would
couldn't be in
be
that position.
married out of guilt
Yeah,
on national
exactly,
television.
exactly. That's the kinda yes, yes.
No, my worst fear would be, like, them like, you meet them and, like, they're either ugly or they're like, "Oh my god, you're ugly." It's
Yeah.
like
Oh, right. Oh my gosh, like, that would be horrible. Like, for
yeah,
them to
because you
just,
don't
like,
wanna look like a
see you
piece
and
of
just turn
shit.
around.
Yeah, no actually, I'm gonna go back in the pod. Can
Uh,
we go back in the pod?
oh my
Yeah, okay,
gosh.
good to know. I'll
Yeah.
jot that down in your bio.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's a great show. I love it. I love it. So Contagion, this movie, we watched it on HBO Max. That's where I'm
Yeah,
sure everybody's gonna be streaming it because I think that's the only place it's at. But I had actually
yeah.
never seen this movie before. Actually, I don't know how. Like, I really
Wow.
don't know. I honestly didn't even know this movie existed. I don't know if it's because, like, when it came out, I mean, I was just maybe I was just in my own world then, or when it when the whole controversy about it,
Mhm.
um, with Netflix and everything, like, maybe I was just in a hole then.
Maybe you live in one? Maybe,
Yeah,
a
I mean, that's
little.
very
I don't
possible.
know, you know?
I was in Tennessee at that time, so it
Okay,
is
that's
kind
like
of
a
a
little bit
hole.
of a hole, right?
It is kind of a hole. Um, no offense, Tennessee,
No, we
but
love you, Tennessee.
yeah, we love Tennessee. Tennessee loving podcast, just so everybody knows.
Yeah, yeah.
We have a lot of listeners in Tennessee, so we love Tennessee.
Tennessee, I'm
Uh,
kidding. I love you guys so much.
um, but um, Yeah, so have you seen this movie? Are you familiar with it? I think you're probably more familiar with it than I am.
Yeah, so I'll be honest, yeah, I saw it, but it did come out in 2011. So
Yeah.
for me, I was like fresh out of high school. I mean, like I graduated in 2010. I don't
Mhm.
know how our age difference, but
We're not too
and
far
I
off.
was like running rampant in
Yeah.
2011. So I don't really remember seeing it. I just know it existed, like kind
Mhm.
of what it's about. And I was like, And yeah, I did go try to like pull it up and watch it again. And come to find out, obviously, we had our own pandemic here in the real world,
Mhm.
which caused like a mass hysteria. Like if you actually Google it, there's the craziest shit about like conspiracies, all sorts of things tied to Contagion. And so
Yeah.
Netflix actually removed it in like 2020 or something.
Wow. That's so
Which is
crazy.
why we can only find it. I literally searched on my Roku TV, like, and the only thing that popped up was HBO Max. And I
Yeah.
was like, glad I have this because of House of Cards. And so, yeah, and I watched it like 3 times this week because I really
Oh,
wanted to
nice.
remember it, and I have like ADD. So,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I have ADHD.
yeah,
ADHD, so yeah.
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 So, okay, well, then we both had to like get a bit of a refresher
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
it's fine.
Yep.
Um,
Literally looked up the Wikipedia plot of it, like, before we got on here and
I'm
everything,
dead.
so
Oh, man. Yeah, no, it's we'll talk about it.
yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously the parallels are definitely there.
For
I mean,
sure.
cause yeah, cause like cause like you guys picked this film and so I was like, and we had kind of talked about like how it was like how it's, I guess was like kind of like it, but I was not expecting it to be so similar. So I could definitely see how, the people that, want to put, tie one string to another, could definitely do
Yeah.
do this with this
And let
film.
me
It's
tell
it
you,
would
if
be
you
very
have a
easy.
string, you will
Yeah.
find a way to tie it to
I mean,
another.
it's
So,
yeah, exactly. I mean, but like that's the thing is like with this one, like it would be one of those ones where I'd be like
mhm.
I'm not on that boat, but I can definitely see how someone can easily just be like, "Yep, I'm hopping on that one easy." Uh,
Speaking of, when we are done, I think it would be super funny if we go on TikTok of all places where we met. And like we will probably end up in a rabbit hole
yes,
of shit just tied to Contagion and COVID. Like I
yes,
guarantee it'll be on there because
I'm all about that.
yeah, I will so that's kind of like what sparked me into like looking more into just like behind the scenes stuff about the movie.
Yeah,
Which I'm sure we'll, like, get to. I know you guys have, like, your thing, and I'll, talk a little bit more about, like, what I found later, but, um, just about, yeah, the similarities, and there are differences,
yeah.
especially, like, I just feel like I don't wanna, like, ruin it. I don't know if you're gonna talk about it. Just, like, certain things that happen, I'm like, "Alright, that's not COVID," but,
Yeah.
like, a lot of the other things were, like, super parallel,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, so I guess we will, go ahead and hop into, the part where I try to, recall the film from completely from memory. I have no notes, I'm not going off of anything. And this one's going to be absolutely horrible because of the way, like, it's set up. There's so many people. There's so many different things going on, and like we
It's
said earlier,
science,
I
like,
have
work.
ADHD. Yeah,
Yeah,
so I'm definitely not going to be able to go into detail on
you
this
have
one.
you have
Um,
ADHD, and I have to also try to remember if you're even right. So
yeah,
this is gonna be really funny and
yeah.
entertaining. So
Uh,
continue.
yes. So we're gonna start, and I'm definitely gonna not. We're not gonna do names because names are
Yeah,
just
no, because
absolutely
I'll
gonna
be
not.
agreeing with you, and we'll probably both be wrong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So, we start out with Gwyneth Paltrow. She's at the bar. She has just gotten done hooking up with somebody. She's in Chicago on her way back from Hong Kong, and she's on her way back home. We find out that she's had an affair on her husband, who is Matt Damon. Um, back at home, she's got her son and Matt Damon there. She's not feeling great. She thinks it's probably just like jet lag, so she's trying to sleep it off. She's getting worse. Um, then her son starts to get a little bit of the cough, and so we're kind of like, okay, the kid's getting it. And then Gwyneth Paltrow, she's in the kitchen. She starts seizing up, and they rush her to the hospital. She dies pretty quickly while she's there. So it's like I think it's been like not a really quick. I mean, it's been a really quick turnaround. So um, they're kind of like, "What is this?" You know, and so they do a little investigating. While they're at the hospital, um, the son starts having his own spell. So Matt Damon rushes home, and by the time he gets there, the son's dead. So they take him to the hospital. And they quarantine him, or Matt Damon, and because they don't know what this is, they're kind of freaking out. This guy back in Hong Kong also gets the disease, and they're getting reports of these two places, and so they're like freaking out about it. And the daughter of Gwyneth Paltrow and Matt Damon comes to visit Matt Damon. She's freaking out because she feels like she should have been there to help. Um, but Matt Damon's happy because she's there and she's healthy. We find out that Matt Damon is also immune, which is good news. So he's not really sure if his daughter, has his immunity, or if she is susceptible. So they're trying to, so he keeps her quarantined for a little while. They find out that the virus is half pig born and half bat born. So they've never seen it before, and it's growing fast. The CDC sends Kate Winslet to go investigate. And then that's when they start, tracing it around, find out who has it. And they find out that that's when they find out that uh, Gwyneth Paltrow is having an affair with her ex-boyfriend. And so, Kate Winslet, she feels like shit from this. And she eventually contracts it herself and passes away. And, Lawrence Fishburne's feeling really bad about that because he's the one that sent her there. And they find out that the virus is going to infect 12% of the population, I think, something like that. And with a 25 to 30% mortality rate on top of that. They found out it is an airborne virus that spreads quickly, is highly infectious, and yeah, kills people pretty rapidly. And then let's see. Oh, and then Jude Law. Jude Law. He fakes an illness. He's like this blogger. He fakes an illness, fakes like he has it, and then has this medical cure, quote unquote. It's all natural, made from Forsyth. They find out that he has been getting paid from that, and that he has been faking everything, and they arrest him for fraud, and he's exposed, which is good. They finally, I can't think of the doctor's name, but the doctor, they decide that the virus is too, spreading too rapidly for anybody else to work on. So they order all of the viruses except for the one being worked at the government to be eradicated. So this one doctor, he decides that he's close enough that he decides to go against that rule, and he stabilizes a virus cell long enough that they develop a vaccine. So they're out there trying to, get the vaccine out. They're in short supply, so everybody's out there trying to get some. And this one girl that works for, I forgot what she works for, but she gets kidnapped so that they think that they can hold her hostage in order for this small village to get vaccines. But they finally, negotiate, and they hand over some vaccines. and the girl gets back back into her custody, which is she finds out that they were given placebos, and so she goes and warns the villagers that they're not vaccinated now. So um that was that storyline. And then we find out that um once everybody starts getting vaccinated, uh life starts to return back to normal. um Matt Damon sets up a prom in his house for his daughter and her boyfriend, who's gotten the vaccine, so he's allowed to be around the daughter now. And then at the very end, we find out in a flashback that Gwyneth Paltrow, well, actually, we see a bat, eating a banana. Uh, we assume he's diseased. He drops a little bit of the banana at a pig farm, and the pig eats it. Then that pig is later on slaughtered and brought into a restaurant. And we see this chef, preparing the pig that had eaten the banana. He's, playing around in its mouth and, doing his butchering thing with it. And then he's called and he goes out to meet Gwyneth Paltrow, doesn't wash his hands, shakes her hands, take a picture. And that is how the virus has started. The end.
COVID.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much. That's so eerie. Yeah. So on a grade of A+ to an F, what would you grade me?
Dude, A+.
All right, sweet, nice.
Literally, I'm so proud of you. Like, I was
Thanks.
like, what? You went so hard. Like, I was like, because I also have the plot like just pulled up to like I was following along like with the actual plot like online. And I was like, bro is going in order. Like he remembers this movie right now.
Dude, so like
he brought up random shit that I forgot about.
Dude,
yeah.
So, I don't know, it's just like, okay, so like I mean, like that's my one thing that like I guess I kind of like hyper focus on sometimes. Which is like kind of what led us to like doing the podcast. Because we would like talk in detail about things, and that's kind of how we started our podcast, was just like we would talk about shows and things that we liked. Specifically, like it started with Cobra Kai on Netflix was like one thing. We were like talking about like what we thought like the next season was going to be, and so we were just like, let's just start a podcast. We've always talked about kind of joking about doing one, like let's freaking do one. So we did. And then it led to this. It evolved into what we're doing now. So yeah, like it's like my one like thing that I can like hyperfixate on, as long as it's like entertaining. And I actually really enjoyed this film. Not to get too much into it before I get into like my review of it and my ratings, but yeah, the parallels, man, they're insane. Like it being like a respiratory illness, and how contagious.
Yeah. So I will say that I don't want to dive too much into kind of my fun facts about the movie. But what I will say is it's just like they had this crystal ball into the future.
Yeah.
Like a decade.
I mean, by all means, yeah, go for it. Tell us.
Yeah. Like a decade ahead of time.
Facts.
Okay,
yeah.
I have some fun facts. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but it ties into this because you're talking about accuracy and you're talking about parallels and just like how the hell but you have to keep in mind COVID was not the first infectious disease. We've had other similar things. And so anyway,
and they were even referenced in the film too, like,
yes, yeah, I think I put that in my notes. I don't even remember what I put in my own notes. That's how like my brain, if anyone's listening, I just started a brand new job, so like my brain, it doesn't work. So but I did look up some really cool things because I knew that this movie was like intentional. Like I just remember hearing about like cool little like nuggets and like things that they did with this movie. I just didn't know what they were. I just remember knowing that, and I was like, I gotta look this up. Because like you said, even in the movie, like if you, what I'm gonna say now, then go back and watch it again.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. But to like ensure the like utmost scientific accuracy, they actually hired a what do you call it? An epidemiology professor
Uh,
from Columbia University to be like a consultant on the film.
oh wow.
So yeah, so it was actually Contagion is actually one of the like highly praised and hailed films for
Mhm.
being the most scientifically accurate in like any Hollywood production.
Makes sense. I mean, it makes total
So
sense because
right.
yeah.
And like even he would like what's his name? I don't even remember his name. The consultant, the professor, but he would like chime in on things. Like for instance, there was a scene where Dr. Hextall, she
Mhm.
injects herself with the vaccine.
Yeah.
Well, he's there like watching. Like he was like on set and he's like, no, this they had to reshoot the whole scene because
Yeah.
apparently like he thinks that her caliber, she would never incorrectly administer the vaccine. So like he knows her character, like everything. And
Yeah.
I guess they had originally shot it where she's like shooting it through a layer of clothing.
Uh,
And he's like, absolutely not.
oh yeah.
Reshoot this. You're not doing that. So just like even like small things like that where he's like, no, that's not how that would go down.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but also this gets so crazy. Fun fact, the same guy, right?
Yeah.
The professor, he also created the virus that's depicted in the movie. Like
What?
in IRL. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Oh
in
my
the
gosh.
movie, yeah, this is nuts. I mean, you go to Columbia, right? You got to be like, something.
Yeah.
But or he's professor. So like in the movie, it's MEV1 or whatever,
Uh-huh.
right? That's I think what it is. So it's actually that's based off of like the Nipah. I don't know how they say it. Nipah virus, which came from
Uh-huh.
Malaysia in like the 1990s,
Yeah.
like the late 1990s. Um, which was a real life virus that was known to be like spread from pigs to farmers.
Uh-huh.
So like you're tracking, right? Like you
Yeah.
just said everything. And so in 1999, in Malaysia, they actually killed like millions of pigs to like prevent any further contamination.
Oh
That's
my
like the saddest
gosh.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just crazy because he was like the actual creator of
The
the
actual virus?
the virus depicted in the movie. So he obviously knew the ins and outs of how it should go,
Yeah.
and it's just crazy
Did
that
he create it before the before the film?
I
Or
don't know that. Or like
or did
for it. I don't know.
or
Yeah,
not
I
for
don't.
it, but, like, afterwards, like, he was like, like, "This film gave me a great idea, like, I'm actually gonna try to make this shit."
He's actually the creator of COVID. I'm just kidding. I do not, for legal purposes, that was a joke. I am poor. I have nothing to give. But no. Uh, there's a lot of other cool things, but I thought that was really funny that he was that involved and that they were, like that intentional about being, uh, scientifically accurate.
Yeah.
So, I wonder where he's at now. I'm sure sure. I wonder if he's like, still alive. I don't know how old he was at the time.
Yeah.
Um, but if so, I'm really, really curious his thoughts on like COVID.
Right, like, if he has any comments on, like, after the film too, because, I mean, dude, I don't know. Like, I mean, yeah, like, I mean, he very well could have been like, if he did create the virus, like, I mean, I'm poor too, so don't come after me.
No,
Um,
yeah.
like we always say, we always say, like, this is definitely a hobby because we are not making money on this podcast.
Right. We're just
We're
two
solely
dudes.
exactly. We're definitely paying. We are paying to put this out there.
Yeah.
So you have nothing to gain from us, either as well. So, but yeah, like it's so crazy. Like it's almost seriously like what is kind of like I mean, I'm not trying to like feed into any conspiracies, but like it literally
So hard.
feels like someone watched this film and got like an idea of like how shit should go down because
I'm so dead ass.
all right, like
I'm from New York. I say that.
yeah.
No, because I was like, I was like, gosh, these conspiracy theories. Like, people are so annoying with that. Like, everyone is gonna have an agenda,
Yeah.
and they're gonna just say whatever. But then I was watching it and I was like, okay, like I could see where you
Mhm.
would go from A to B. Like,
Yeah.
I could see where you thought.
Yeah, like
There were things that I were like when she seized on the ground and stuff, I'm like, to my knowledge, and I could be so ignorant to COVID.
yeah.
To my knowledge, like that kind of wasn't kind of how COVID played out.
Yeah.
Like where, like seizing, foaming at the mouth kind of thing,
Yeah, I
I
don't
was like, "Oh, that's a little dramatic."
yeah, I don't
But
think so. Maybe if you had, like, some underlying conditions, maybe
yeah,
something
maybe.
like that dramatic happen, but, like, I think it would have to be something probably, like yeah, like, where maybe you were coughing for so much that you couldn't get oxygen to maybe, like and
That's
if you already
true.
had, like, maybe something like that, but yeah, like you said, it's not it seemed like in the film, like, that was more prevalent like, a more of a common thing,
Dramatization
yeah.
or
Well, more
something.
no, like, more
Yeah.
common thing for, like, everybody in the film. Yeah, and, like,
Okay.
some other things, like, that were different, like but also very much the same, like
I was gonna say, because 'cause we're speaking from knowledge of just what we know, and there could have been so many cases that
oh,
were, like,
right.
super crazy that we just don't know.
Oh, yeah, you're very true
But
about that,
just
very
being
true about that.
honest.
Yeah, you're very
Don't
true.
hate us.
That's
We
not
know it.
that's
COVID is crazy. Not
right.
downplaying it.
Right, exactly. That's definitely not a conspiracy. Definitely, COVID definitely had some weird shit happen, but,
Yeah.
just in my experience, I never saw anything or heard anything like that
Yeah.
drastic. But also, like, they did I mean, I guess it was a little bit more dramatic than because it's a film, but, like, when they were doing, like, their quarantine time or whatever, like, how
Yeah.
the cars were just, like, in the middle of, like, an apocalypse, like, the cars were just, like, parked in the middle of the street and, like,
Yeah.
newspapers were blowing down, they're, like, down the road and everything, like, I'm like,
Like, okay,
"Yeah."
I am legend.
Right, exactly, like, that I don't think, we didn't, like, do that, you know? Like, we didn't just, like, run into the house and, like, leave the car
Yeah.
running, you know?
Well,
Um
and then even, like, funny parts where, like, the dude was just, walking around. This was, like, in the beginning when, like,
Mm.
I was trying to equate it to how we were when COVID first hit, and I just feel like people, even still to this day, will wear a mask outside
Yeah,
by themselves, and
yeah,
I'm just like, "You do you, boo boo."
right,
But
or in their car.
in their car by themselves. And I'm like, "Okay, maybe you're an Uber," but, like, probably not. You're, like, 85. But, hey,
Yeah,
if you're 85 and you're Uber, cool. I'm so sorry. Anyway, ADD. So, like wow.
yeah,
What was I saying? Oh, there's, like, a scene where the guy is just, like, bopping around, just walking outside, and there's, like,
yeah,
other people, they're just all walking outside, and then it's, like, across the lawn is, like, the line of people either getting tested or, like,
yeah,
they might have symptoms or something like that, and I'm like, "That is something absolutely that would have just been a little bit different with COVID because people were
yeah,
so freaked out, like, you
mhm,
were not just bopping around outside, especially not that close to people that you thought were sick."
yeah,
Um, so that was funny, and it was, like, a sunny day, like, he's just bopping around, and I'm like, "Oh,
yeah.
this guy just doesn't have any illness right now, like, fuck this guy."
Yeah, yeah, I mean,
Uh,
there was a few people like that, but there was definitely, like they definitely were way, way less than, like, yeah, like, depicted in the film, like you said, like, people were super
yeah.
close, and they did not have a 6-foot distance at all.
Yeah, and side note, I have a correction for you. I should have given
Yeah.
you an A, not a A plus.
Oh,
Just
okay,
kidding.
okay.
No, because you went off memory. So fun fact is the daughter that's in the movie, Matt Damon's daughter, is
Uh-huh.
actually his daughter from a previous marriage. So it's not Gwyneth
Really?
Paltrow's. Yeah. And you'll start to kind of notice it a little bit more now if you watch it back that she doesn't really have any care for Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah, fair.
And yeah,
I did
and she
not
just was kinda like, "You need me," and came back home to her dad.
yeah,
Um, and you notice, like, she really had no reaction to her dying
yeah. True,
much. I mean,
true,
she did,
true.
but, I mean, that's her brother, right? But,
Yeah.
that's not her mom. So she was with her mom, I'm
Ah,
pretty
that makes
sure.
sense.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Why would you come here?" And she's
Yeah.
like, "Well, you were alone." So that's what happened.
Gotcha.
Uh,
Gotcha.
yeah, so crazy. Uh, but yeah,
Yeah, I did
there's a
not pick
lot
up.
of crazy things that I have
Yeah,
to say.
I mean, yeah, there's so like okay, so I guess we can kind of go into so like what we'll do it out of
Hmm.
we'll do it well, I guess like what would be a good rating scale out of 5? Well, I'll
1
let
out
you
of
do it
5
since you're the get.
On a scale of 1, uh, like, germs or, like, are we doing, like okay,
We could do germs.
why am I making this so complicated? What's
I
the
make it
premise of this?
complicated.
What's the point of this ranking? What do we like, what would it
So
normally be?
like we usually do it just out of random things from the film.
Oh,
Yeah. So like you can like just out of 5 random objects from the film. Yeah.
okay, yeah, let's do germs.
Okay. All right.
Germ.
So out of
I mean,
5 germs with like one being the lowest and 5 being the highest, what would you give this? How many germs would you give this?
I feel like I would give it y'all are gonna hear me out. I think a 3.
All right. 3.
I
That's
think a 3 because I feel like it could have been a lot worse.
yeah. All right. So
That sucks to say that.
why would you give it a 3? What makes you give
Mm,
it a 3?
hmm. Maybe because the movie ended. They need a part 2 or something, because I'm just thinking about how widespread it could have been,
Yeah.
uh, and how many, um it was really it followed, specific people mainly,
Mhm. Yeah.
and kinda just loosely talked about the masses,
Yeah.
but if it really, like, went into more detail of the masses and, like, the deaths and, like, I would've been like, "Alright, that
Yeah.
shit's a 5."
Yeah.
But I was like, "I'm gonna leave it at a 3 because it's, like, super contagious, but, like, it could have been worse in my
Yeah.
head."
Yeah.
I don't know. What would you
Yeah.
rate it?
Okay. So I'm actually pretty close, and I guess maybe because I haven't seen it as much, so maybe it's like I haven't had as much time to like think about it too. But I'm actually gonna go with a 3.5, just a little bit higher than you. I had so much
Okay.
fun. I had so much fun with it. But I can't go um lower than that, but also like you said, like there's a lot of flaws with it. And like that's exactly like that was my major thing too, as well as like I was like this movie was so long, and I feel like we could have seen use some of the time to see more of, like, what was
Yeah.
going on in the world, and I feel or even,
The
like
world, yes.
yeah, like, see, like, just the normal people. I feel like everybody that we followed had a specific,
Role or
goal with yeah,
something.
exactly, of, like
See,
which, I
now I
mean
feel bad because I feel like overall the movie was really good. Like, I was like, "This is a solid movie."
yeah. Well,
S
3 is a pretty solid score. I mean, if you feel free to rate
I'm
it.
gonna come up to a 3.5.
Okay,
I'm gonna
okay,
be
that's
there.
okay. Alright, 3.5 is good. We'll be,
There you go.
equals there. But for sure, yeah, like, but it was a lot of fun, and, like, what
It
was
wasn't.
on
You
the
wanna know
screen
why I'm gonna feel bad?
yeah,
Yeah, I'll tell you why I'm gonna feel bad for saying that, because this movie has 5 Oscar winners in it,
yeah,
and that'd be Matt Damon, I don't know how to say it last name, Marion Cotillard?
uh-huh.
Cotillard?
I don't
Gwyneth Paltrow, Kate
yeah,
Winslet, and then obviously Steven Soderbergh,
yeah,
himself. But here's why I feel bad. 5 Oscar winners, and majority of the cast members agreed to be in the film for, like, little to no pay. So,
yeah.
Gwyneth Paltrow filmed her part for free in 3 days.
Oh, wow.
So how dare us rate it a 3.5?
I mean but, like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I do feel a little bit bad, but, I mean, it's not their fault. In fact,
No,
they're the main reason it's a 3.5 because, like,
I'm dead.
even a lot of the I mean, honestly, because like,
Fuck off,
the
Gwyneth
story was
Paltrow.
great. The story's great, but, like, even some of the smaller characters, like I said, that I didn't really like, that I could have done without their whole dramatic scenes, like put in place of those, like they elevated those scenes to where I'm like, I don't want to like cut those out in place of the real world scenes either, because
yeah, because it made it like we
yeah,
really
exactly.
didn't. Yeah, like we really didn't need to know that she cheated on her husband because like
Yeah,
fuck off, right?
yeah,
Um, because then you don't like her and then she dies, so you don't even really feel bad. I mean, I'm
yeah.
kidding, I feel bad, but me personally, I came from a situation like that, so I'm like, fuck this hoe. I don't even like her. That's why she got a STD. I'm just kidding. She got whatever.
Right, she got what coming
And
to her.
it's just like that part was so irrelevant, but obviously they
Yeah.
just wanted some sort of a storyline other than, but like if they would have kind of just cut that whole thing out and just let it be literally like the infectious disease.
Yeah, because she could
Yeah,
have
I
spread
think
it
it could
just as
have.
a layover in Chicago. Like, she didn't have
Yeah.
to,
We
like,
were all
sleep with
rooting for that.
somebody. Yeah, yeah,
Like why? Why and
yeah,
then why did they and she died instantly. Like she was done. No wonder her role was filmed in 3 days because
yeah,
she was like boom 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 dead. And then
yeah,
Kate Winslet dies pretty quickly
yeah,
in the movie.
yeah,
I mean to me. And then I'm like, okay, now what? Like
yeah,
knocked 2 of those out.
yeah, and, I mean, I love Kate Winslet, so, like
Yeah.
and see, I don't if I haven't seen the film already, I try not to do, like, any amount of research on it other than just,
Okay.
like, making sure, like, it's on streaming or something, but yeah, so I didn't know most of these people that are in here. So like the first time I watched it, I was just be like, "Oh snap!" Like Kate
Yeah, yeah,
Winslet,
yeah.
like, "Oh shit, Lawrence Fishburne." Like,
Honestly, I forgot that she was in it. Yeah. I
yeah,
knew it was Matt Damon and Gwyneth, and that's like
yeah.
all I remembered. Yeah.
And what's crazy is like not even like those just the big names, but there's like it seems like everybody in the film. You're like, "Oh, it's that guy. Oh, it's that
Yeah.
chick. Like, oh, it's that
So
person from." Like,
yes,
it's like a
because
constant, like one of those, like, because I mean, I'm sure you're probably like me, it's like, "Where do I know them from?" And you just have to, like,
yep,
freaking scroll
Google.
and, like yeah, exactly, it's
Do
like
you know what I feel about that, like, equivalent to that? One of my favorite movies is Donnie Darko,
oh, I love Donnie
and,
Darko.
if you go back and watch it now, it's like so many people were in that movie that you
Yeah,
didn't realize, like, when they were young, like Seth Rogen and just,
yeah,
like, all these people, and you're like, "What the hell?"
yeah,
And that's kinda like how it was watching this movie, but I I saw so they obviously for little to no pay because a lot of them really were like respected the information because it was based
yeah,
loosely off of obviously a real disease, but you'll see in the movie in certain scenes like referencing H1N1 or and SARS and all that. So
yeah,
it's like real things that like people are aware of, and being that it was so scientifically accurate and they knew that and they were working side by side with this consultant, they really just wanted to like inform the masses. So it's funny because there's a guy, the main guy, like, in Breaking Bad is in this
uh
movie, and
yeah, yeah,
that
Bryan
show was
Cranston,
gaining yeah, it was gaining such high traction when this movie came out, and they didn't even advertise that he was in it.
yeah, because
Like,
he
you would
really wasn't in it that very, like, much.
yeah, but, like, they could have totally, like, used that in their
Yeah,
advertising, and he was just like they were just, like, not even gonna
yeah,
do it, and I was like, "Damn, like, okay,
yeah, I
go
mean
off."
right. I mean, in all fairness, it's like, I mean, at the time, like, Bryan Cranston, even though the show was going off, it was like he was probably still like the 7th or 8th most famous person in the movie anyways.
Right, I know, he was, like, not even
Yeah,
important at the time.
exactly, exactly. He
And
was just
speaking
the
of
guy from Malcolm in the Middle.
yep, I was about to say that, that's so funny, but, Jude Law, so
Yeah,
there's so many, like, crazy accurate things, so, in the movie, Jude Law's character, he's like the Chronicle reporter, right?
yeah,
But that's actually based off of, like, a real person who was
uh-huh,
some, like, San Francisco, like, reporter, named Benny Evangelista? And
yeah,
apparently this guy was, like, super known for being messy. Like, the guy was messy as hell, his desk was always messy.
uh-huh.
So if you go back and look in the movie, like, Jude Law like, the desk was so messy. And apparently, they used his real desk. So,
Oh,
like yeah, as the for the workplace for, like, Lorraine Vasquez in the movie,
uh-huh.
like, that was that guy's real desk, and they just left everything, like, intact and untouched.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that so random? Like,
That
you didn't have to do
is.
that, but it's just like a fun
Right.
little like nugget to know. Like,
Right.
I was
Like
like,
I love
okay, you guys are just being accurate as fuck out here.
right. I love when they do details like that for no reason
Yes.
than for like people to just be like, oh cool. Like,
Like
like
figure it out and you didn't
yeah.
even know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Like it really doesn't matter. But
Yeah,
when you
just
find out,
you're
you're
like,
like,
fuck it.
okay, yeah, exactly.
Why, fuck it,
Exactly.
why not?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
um, I
Um,
feel like
but yeah, that whole storyline, like speaking of accuracy, like I'm just like I feel like that would be something that when I would watch it, I would be like, who would believe that? Like who
yeah.
like that many people would never follow somebody like that. But man, like watching it now, like post COVID, I was oh man, like it's I'm surprised more people weren't following him in the movie.
So let me tell you
Yeah.
this. I born and raised in New York,
Yeah.
and my grandma worked for JetBlue.
Uh-huh.
And I remember when SARS came to America, and
Yeah.
most people don't even know what that is or
Yeah.
like even remember it. But when it hit New York, and
From
she
the you're
used
in
to
the
have to wear
city?
a yeah, Queens.
Okay.
And I remember she would wear like a face mask and it was like super sketch. I mean, now
Yeah.
it's like so normal, right? But like I was young. I
Mhm.
was like really young, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, I remember like she had to wear like face masks at the airport and like it was really intense.
Yeah.
Like a really intense threat in the boroughs.
Mhm.
Um and I didn't even really know what like an epidemic, pandemic. I mean, you don't
Yeah.
really think of infectious diseases like that. Like when
Yeah.
have we ever really had to deal with that in our lifetime? Um, I mean, other than things like the flu and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but that was like something I'd never seen. Like everyone masked up. It was so weird.
Right,
And
and
then
I
here
mean
we are.
right, I mean, COVID was definitely I mean, obviously the biggest one anybody's ever seen.
Mhm.
I do remember, like, seeing, like, news reports of, like, oh, the bird flu,
Yeah.
I think the bird flu or maybe the
Isn't
swine
that the
flu.
H1N1?
I think so. I think you're right.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hopefully, we're right. But
I
I
don't know.
remember
I
swine
mean,
flu, yeah.
honestly, I don't know.
It's just
I
another
barely
one out
remember
there.
yeah, I barely remember my last name some days. Um,
Mm.
but, like, those are mad cow disease, which really didn't get bad, I guess, over here in the States, but,
That was like England, right?
I think so. I think it was in the
We
UK.
suck. It's probably
Yeah,
like Ireland or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
Like,
We'll say Europe. We'll just be safe.
yeah,
Say Europe.
European. Yeah.
Um, but like, I remember just, like, seeing those news reports, but, like, it was like we always wound up, like, containing them too, you know what I'm saying? So it's like
Yes.
it never got very bad. So, yeah, man, but, like so I guess, like, this movie, like, being so, I guess, prophetic is just
I'm
like,
telling you,
man,
like I set a crystal ball into the future of just
yeah,
like how I think the most like psychological, thrilling, fucked up part is when it goes back and it shows you how it happened, how
yeah,
it spread so nonchalantly. Like
yeah,
just like homeboy like and if and it's always like it kind of reminds me of those things where it's like had one of those people decided to just do one thing differently
yeah,
that day,
yeah,
and it's just like that's like how it works, like that's
mhm,
literally how that works. It's so nuts.
yeah,
um but in it's crazy because in advertising for the film, like in Canada, right? So to help promote the movie, Warner Bros. They made like these two giant petri dishes,
uh-huh,
like, and they filled it with like fake fungi and bacteria, and I mean like gigantic, and they placed them in this like really prominent store in Toronto. Okay,
uh-huh,
like that's it. So you're like, what the fuck? Living in New York, you'd see the craziest stuff all the time, and you're like, what is this ad, right? Like,
yeah,
you'd have like PETA like on the streets playing the most X-rated, like, animals getting slaughtered on a big screen, like, and you're just trying to go to work, you know? So it's like, I'm
yeah.
like, "Okay, this is nothing," but then I was reading more about it, and it's over time, these petri dishes that are just like imagine just, like, walking down the street in Toronto and, like, in the Urban Outfitters, like, window are
Yeah,
just giant petri dishes, and you're like, "What the hell is this?" Like, there's no, like, identification of just, like, it's there, and it just has
yeah,
shit in it. So then, like, over time the fungi and bacteria ended up like reacting and like growing into,
Oh shit.
whatever to spell out the word contagion. And it
Oh,
had
that's
like
cool.
biohazard symbols and stuff. Yeah.
That's
Um,
cool.
yeah. So that was like in Canada.
Yeah.
But then Russia kind of did their own cool thing. And I know nothing about like the Russian alphabet, but I thought it was cool. And I'm gonna go look it up and maybe like we could like post it. Like I might share it like on my story or something like that
Yeah.
for you guys to see. But the Russian poster advertising for Contagion, it features like 9 letters.
Uh-huh.
But oddly enough, it says like the title also spells out all of the global cities that were infected in the movie.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
yeah, so like the word is like Zara, like Zara, and then like in parentheses ZH, which I'm assuming is like a letter, right? Because
Yeah.
then the last 4 letters are ENIE. So that's 9 if you include ZH as one letter, I guess.
Yeah.
And it says like from like one letter from each word was capitalized and highlighted in a row, like to spell out contagion in Russian.
Yeah.
But it also stood for Kazan, Atlanta, San Francisco, Chicago, Paris, Geneva, London, Tokyo, and Perm or whatever, all the cities in the movie that were infected.
That's so
And it's
cool.
just like little shits like that they just like did. I'm like, what?
Man, I
And
love
now I
I
wanna
love
go
when
look
stuff
at it.
like that happens. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like these people get these ideas. Like, how did you guys get this to turn into, say, Contagion out of, like, moss or whatever you had growing in there?
Yeah.
Insane. I'm just trying to buy a shirt at, like, Urban Outfitters.
That's
It's
so cool.
like
Like, yeah, or like when they like do like the billboards, like the interactive ones or something, like where it's like you're like, what does that billboard do? And then all of a sudden like the freaking like sun sets or something and it like turns in like the shadows or something like cast upon like a billboard and then you can like
Oh,
it's
I know what
only
you mean.
like
I
an
know what you mean.
active
They, like,
billboard
move.
for like right. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
only active for like 5 minutes of a day. It's like the billboard's like actually there.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. At first, I was
Um
like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And then I knew what you're talking about. I
yeah,
was like, "Uh-huh,
yeah,
yeah."
yeah, just nod and wave, boys.
Yeah, it's
Um
fine.
right. Yeah, so what like any other cool facts about this?
I don't know. I don't think so. I
Yeah.
know let me see. Let me look at my little notes here. Um, I still can't get over that. The virus was like so loosely based off of another virus from Malaysia. So
Yeah.
okay, so like no, there's no any there's a lot of more fun facts online, honestly. Like I could go on. I wasn't sure how long I was gonna take with these, but it's just so crazy that in the movie it comes from Korea, right?
Yeah.
An
Was it
Asian country. And I'm like,
yeah,
here we go.
yeah,
Here we go. Like there's all the COVID conspiracy theories. They're like,
yeah.
oh my God, it's the Asian country and then COVID's China. And then it's
Mhm.
like, I don't even know. But all I know is if they couldn't have anyone, okay, if Matt Damon was unavailable for this film, who would you pick to be in his spot that was also immune? Because I know who I'd pick. That logically makes sense
Um
in real life. Think about it that way. Like someone you
um,
think would be immune, like in real life.
there's somebody who I would think would be would it be Ben Affleck?
Oh no, that's a good one though. No, I wasn't
Because
even going actor wise. I was just going like logic wise.
oh, who would you pick?
Ozzy Osbourne because
Oh god.
dude never got any diseases. And you
Nice.
want to talk about some live bats? I'm like, no, he's immune.
Oh, I
Go
was thinking,
Ozzy.
well, okay, so like first I went Matt Damon to Ben Affleck, and then I was like, and then you were like, it makes sense, and I was like, wait, Ben Affleck, it makes sense because he's Batman.
Oh shit. You
Oh,
right. You're like, what are you talking about? I thought you were on the same page, bro.
I mean, we were
Yeah, yeah.
technically, we were both went with the bats,
Yeah, you're
the
right.
pigs, so we did go in the same direction.
That's super funny
Um,
actually.
but yeah, wasn't that actually like also? I mean, like honestly, like I'm showing how like ignorant I am about like everything right now, but wasn't like COVID also started with bats? Like, wasn't that at least a theory for a while?
That's a yeah, to be honest, I know that that was, like, a highly talked about thing, and I'm like, was that was that proven? I don't know.
Right.
I mean, because right, then you get into the whole thought, and like, politically, and was it a man-made
Yeah.
was it a constructed, and sometimes I lean a little bit more towards the
Yeah.
intentionality behind COVID. We can go on that, but it definitely was discussed that it came from, like, a bat or something like that.
Yeah.
And it makes me think, like, obviously all cultures are different. We have certain things that we do in America, like certain, we have like our Food and Drug Administration, like we have just like what do you call them? Requirements that
Yeah.
we have to adhere to, whatever regulations, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And like other countries are different. And so you do see that's why you see like those open markets and things like that in I wouldn't call it a third world country because it's not. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like in more remote towns and stuff like that. And it's like, if they're not being like regulated, like of course, you mean you just go to a restaurant and if fish and chicken are cooked in the same like that just it's so easy
Yeah.
for things to be contaminated, right?
Yeah.
And so if you have this like just fucking rabid animal or something or just whatever, and then there you go, like the movie showed, one person decided that day they were gonna take the bus and hold the handle but they actually just had to put down one of their dogs because it was sick, but little did
Yeah.
they know that dog was contagious, and it just is like insane. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's that's never something that we can predict,
Right.
and you can't protect yourself from that.
Right. I think about things like that all the time too. Like
It's
it's
inevitable.
absolutely terrifying. And the fact that we're like all like just world travel, like,
Yeah.
like it's just like 'cause it's just so instantaneous now. That it's just like how like we're all susceptible. It's just like, dear God, I
Yeah.
hope I have like immunity to whatever it is. That's
Right. I
like
feel like we have to be proactive in
yeah,
how we react to when it happens, because it's not preventing things from happening,
yeah,
because like things are gonna like there's diseases are gonna pop up.
yeah,
So it's really how are we gonna respond to it? Are we gonna be prepared,
yeah.
stuff like that? Because it's like, yeah, you can't you can't just like assume and predict things like that all the time.
I mean, right. But that's the thing is like hopefully I mean, first of all, hopefully nothing like this ever, like COVID ever happens again, to that level and
Whew.
the impact. But hopefully, if it does ever we get something like exposed like that is like a rate or like a like not a almost said it, but as like humanity like as a whole, like
Hmm.
we hopefully we have react a lot better than we did with COVID,
I
uh,
was gonna say, hopefully
regardless
we've
of
learned.
right, regardless of how it starts, how it handled was just pretty shitty,
Yeah, I hopefully we've
as a
learned
whole.
many lessons.
As a whole,
Right.
we failed ourselves. Um,
Yeah. Poor
but
Italy. Remember do you remember when they were, like, locked up and they were, like, singing from balconies and shit?
yeah, yeah.
That was, like, so long ago.
Dude, so what's really sucks, like, honestly, like, is, like, going like, knowing that we went through quarantining, going through all that, and, like, we everybody like, it just got to the point where everybody's just like, "Well, we gotta do it," and so, like, everybody just got it, it's just like, "We just gotta go back to normal now," and it's like, so we really did all of that for nothing, like, we went through like, we
Yeah.
put ourselves through hell because like, just because like, so many people decided that it wasn't worth it. It's
Yeah, dude, I know, and it's
uh,
crazy because we could go on and on, but just to put it into perspective, like, I feel like COVID really just, like, time warped us where, like, there was no sense of time, like, just
oh, for
years,
sure.
just, like and
Yeah.
no one remembers that also at, like, the same time, like, the wildfires in Australia, doesn't
Yeah.
that seem like forever ago? That was the same time, like,
Right, and
around the
then
same time, and, like,
right,
there
and
was
all the
so many
riots
things
were
going on.
happening, all the
Yes, so many
riot
things
like,
in the
yeah,
world were happening.
it did feel like the world was ending for a little while.
Yeah, and then it's like, forget it, COVID just took the cake on that one. Like, I
Right.
dead ass, like, got off the plane, so I flew home to New York in January of 2021, New Year's Day.
Okay.
January 1st.
Yeah.
And at that time, there was a rise and fall of, whether or not the strictness,
Yeah.
And
I'm actually familiar because actually I flew into Buffalo in preparation to like move here.
okay.
I had flown up the same day, the
Oh,
exact same
wow.
day. So yeah. So yeah,
Funny.
right.
Yeah. So I get off the plane. I'm not vaccinated. I don't know if vaccines were out yet. I don't remember. I wasn't vaccinated. I just wanted to be with some family. I was going through some things, and
Yeah.
literally I get off the plane and the National Guard is at the gate. Like, they're
Oh
like,
snap.
"Where are you going?"
Yeah.
It was like so intense. The only reason like I kind of knew and expected is because my friend that lives in New York, a friend I went to high school with, was in the National Guard, and he's like, "Listen, just come with me, like follow me." Because I wasn't even sure, like, I don't even know what I would have had to go through. Like, they were gonna they wanted to know where you were going, you needed to
Yeah.
quarantine as soon as you got there, why are you here? Like, nuts.
I wonder if it was
Yeah.
so strict because it was because you were in New York City. Because when I landed here, I did have to fill out paperwork.
Yes, but
Because
I didn't do that.
I don't think there was a vaccine
I
at the
don't think so
time.
either.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I had to list like where I was going to be,
Yes.
my
So
intentions and
I didn't do it.
everything. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I kind of bypassed it because my
all right.
friend, but I also, because I wasn't sure how long I was gonna be there, but I also, um crap, there was that part, and then yeah, because they were supposed to, like, make you quarantine or something crazy, but then my brother and I, I wanted to see, like, my grandparents and stuff while I was there, so we wanted to get tested, and we went to just one of the, like, testing sites in the city, and it
Yeah.
literally looked like a scene from, like, the end of the world, like a prison camp or something.
Yeah.
It was scary as shit.
Well, so like I mean like some of the things that they had us do were just so dumb, honestly.
Oh, I
Like
know.
okay, so like when it was last summer and like the restrictions were starting to like get lifted and like concerts were getting, starting to have like people have concerts and like for like outdoor venues especially. And so I was going to an outdoor venue here close to Buffalo and like you had to have a negative test from, at least
Mm.
72 without, or you could take one there. And so,
Yeah.
like, I opted to take one there because I was like, like, I'm not gonna go and get tested, like, I'm just gonna do it there, like, whatever. I'm already going in there anyways, like, you know what I mean? Like, one-stop shop. Yeah, like, that's
Yeah. No, yeah,
not
yeah.
but, like, yeah, so, like and it was the first time I'd ever actually, like, been tested, so I go up there, before we go to the concert, and, like, they had us, like, separated to take the tests, but while we're all waiting to hear results, they have us, like, sitting, like, in these chairs, like, it's, like, 5 rows of chairs that are just, like, kind of, like, sitting close together, and I'm like
What if one of us has it?
right, exactly, and I'm
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they were so they weren't, like, super close, but, like, they were, like, close enough, like, that I feel like if someone was coughing, I'd be, like, nervous about it,
Yeah. Yeah, it was just a bunch of stuff that everyone just kinda threw out there, and we're like, "Hey, we're just gonna do all these things, and one
Yeah,
of them will stick."
yeah, whatever, and then we all just
Yeah,
went into, like
you live and you learn,
yeah, it is what it
hopefully.
is. Yeah, it's all good.
Well, yeah,
Um,
that's
awesome.
contagion.
So yeah, so Steen, is there anything that you want to like promote? Like, do you want to tell us like your Twitter or not your Twitter, but I guess you do have you do have a
We have it all, we have it all. So life has been really crazy lately with, I'd start a new job.
yeah,
My co-host Araya has 2 children and a husband. And through the holidays, we've had deaths in the families. Like, it's crazy. So
yeah,
if you go look us up, our last episode was actually in February. But we just recorded so many episodes to put out. Um, Actually, we might have had one after February. I don't even remember. We put one out weekly. That's our typical schedule, so look out for that. But it's called Immediately Know. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all the things. Immediately Know podcast. You'll see like us beaming into, a UFO. I'm holding like a knife because I'm like the true crime one, and then Araya is like all things paranormal. So she's holding like a what do they call it? EVP?
Yeah.
EVP? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's fun, sees.
Yeah.
If you have the stomach or the guts.
It's not
some
too
of the scary stuff.
Yeah,
it's not too bad. We've tried to make it funny.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun time. I definitely recommend it for sure. Because I'm a pretty big true crime fan.
Okay.
Yeah, because I actually like a lot of the times like the things that I talk about in my streaming stuff is like some of the like the documentaries and stuff that
like the Casey Anthony one.
Oh man, yes, that one.
Did you guys do that?
We didn't cover it, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I talked about it on the podcast.
I would love for us to do like a joint episode on that because
for sure.
Man, we could go on.
We really could. That could be like a 2 or 3 parter because that
for sure.
Oh man,
there's too many moving parts.
yeah. That oh man, that and I can't. I'm spacing out, but is it the Peterson? Scott Peterson,
Lacey Peterson, Scott Peterson. Sorry.
Yeah, Scott and Lacey Peterson. But yeah. That one, man. Who? That one's another one that I'm like, I can go.
John Bonet. I mean, how many of us try to solve John Bonet Ramsey every damn day of our lives?
Yeah. Same.
Ask me how to do like trigonometry, but ask me what I think about John Bonet Ramsey. I got you in my sleep.
Yep. I can. And like those are. Let's see. Like, oh man. Yeah. And the thing is, like, I can, at this point, I can go either way on so many of those.
Dude, I know. After watching it, I can't even talk about it. But we talk about true crime.
We also
have crazy stuff like hauntings and Skinwalker Ranch and aliens and you name it. Anything that'll keep you up late at night.
Anything that will make you say immediately no.
There you go. Mic drop. We're done.
Yeah, and links to that will obviously be in the show notes. But yeah, thank you, Steen, so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. It's been so much fun.
It has been fun.
You are welcome.
Appreciate it.
You and Araya are more than welcome to come back anytime you want. Even if you're just like, hey, I'm gonna come on this next episode. You don't even have to like literally like prepare. Just be like, send me the link for the next episode. I want to be on it. I just feel like recording, and I'll make that happen.
I'm so excited, and we appreciate it because I feel like I'm pretty funny, but dude, Araya is so much funnier than me.
No, seriously, both
and
you
guys have to experience her.
Yeah,
she's so funny.
Yeah, I mean. You both are crack me up when I listen to you guys, and I mean you're talking about
we're unhinged.
People getting stabbed and like some pretty like crazy shit, and then like it'll be really somber. Like you guys will like literally be like, it was really sad, and talking about like children getting slaughtered, and then the next one you'll be telling a funny story and like talking about some really funny shit.
Like, this guy.
Exactly. I love it. That's kind of my humor anyway, so definitely check those out. Can't recommend them so much. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you want to support us, you can figure out how to do that in the show notes as well. Links to mine and Jeff's socials are also in the show notes. Thank you again, and remember, for the love of God, please wash your hands.
Wash your damn hands.
Thanks, please. Oh man. All right.